Hello all. Hope you have enjoyed the break after season 46. Today I'm just going to be giving my thoughts on the tech tree which was released as well as the base layouts. Huge shout out to BBTFRG group for this. Martin and team do a fantastic job season after season, releasing all the sneak peeks, developing the BBTFRG Warships calculator, and sharing all of the inputs, which helps people like me do the planning much better for the next season. So big credit to them for these images. I'm just going to use these images for the bulk of the video and then give my opinions on it. First, let's look at the base layouts. So 2ER seems quite straightforward, and hopefully not a lot of people will be stuck at 2ER. It's a small little ramp. 3ER, things kind of start to get interesting. You still have the small ramp, but you also have a bit of a wider ramp on the lower side, which means that flying troops will be able to go across the gap and they'll be able to take out the defenses. So you have two options to go and do the hits, both from the side ramp near P3, as well as the bottom ramp to allow the rocket choppers to fly over. 4ER kind of expands on the 3ER layout. Same sort of ramp areas pretty much between 3ER and 4ER. The only difference being that 4ER is more spread out compared to the more compact 3ER. So I think the type of bases might remain similar with a few exceptions, but the extra engine room health, that might be a deciding factor. 5ER, so now we open up the ramp a lot more. The side ramp is pretty much fully open. There's a bit of a cutout in the middle, but flying troops will still be able to go over them if that's what you end up using. 6ER, same ramp, more opening up. Pretty much the bulk of the map is open now, except for a few cutouts in the front of the ramps and then towards the back. And then 7ER is the massive wide deck, two ramps, both sides, a few cutouts. It should be an interesting season with this bottom ramp practically just meant for flying troops. If you do drop a ground troop, I don't think they'll be doing anything much unless it's a bomber and there's some defenses just close to the cutout. Maybe the bombers get those, but all the other troops, if you use ground troops, will be stuck on the bottom ramp. So this might be a season to practice your rocket chopper hits. In terms of the tech tree, quite an interesting tech tree. I think the first thing which I noticed was just one building health right at the end of the tech tree. So after 7ER, after everything is unlocked, that's when we can get our first building health node. Which meant that I'm going to be approaching the season hopefully sensibly, but this season I'll also be playing with non-IT. My IT ran out sometime last season, probably close towards the final weekend. So I did push the final weekend without IT, but this season I'll be playing the entire season without IT. And hopefully I can end up at a decent spot. The season I'll also finish my season a bit early, because in the final weekend I won't be available. I'll be off doing a bit of a race. So I'll need to plan my season accordingly so that I can make the max of the tech tree and do my gameplay accordingly. And that's what is going to feature into a bit of my decision making as well. So let's see what we can do with our choices. So I will try to annotate what I want to be doing. Hopefully that will start to make a bit of sense, but if not, that's okay. After all, you do plan these seasons for yourself first, and then hopefully the guiding thoughts can help benefit out a few of you folks as well. So right after the gate, I would be making my way to the rocket choppers, because even without IT, I think that is still the right gameplay to do. There will be a few reserves, but hopefully with certain tech, I'll be able to use the RCs and not lose too much of them in each and every hit. Now, one of the good things or the key things for rocket chopper play would be unlocking flares, because without them you're just free clearing and all the rocket choppers will free clear quite fast. I don't think that's the most effective way of doing it. And with my starting keys, I'll be also able to get the third engine room, Dr. Kawan, although don't really need it at the moment. And then you have a choice of either rushing towards boom cannon, which is possible if I did decide to go down that route. I think I can just about get that with my starting keys. Or you go down the route of the multi-node DBD and shock bombs. And I think for a non-IT play, just trying to beef up my base doesn't make much sense. I do need the tools to make it easier for me to clear bases and to save my troops. And because of that reason, I'll go down the multi-node route, pick up the DBD, pick up the shock bombs, and I think that's all that I can do with my starting keys, and then it will be up to the starting 4 chests out of 6 to start unlocking the rest of the tech. I'll start at rank 15. I'm hoping that using rocket choppers, using the shock bombs, I might be able to get to gold towards this early start of the season. But even if it doesn't happen with the starting chest, and if I'll just change color, maybe something like that, I should then be able to pick up the GBE node and the boom cannon node, and maybe, I think the machine gun is only possible if I also pick up a rank chest. But what my intention would be is that I just continue forward from that point on. So I will not be picking up the first GBE node. That's out of the picture for me. I'll not be picking up the mortars. I'll not be picking up the flamethrowers, at least at the very beginning. Instead, I'll just make my way over to the 4 ER meta. And I think the reason for me to do that is all of these tech, yes, it may be helpful, but what is the real price for me as a non-IT player would be the yellow buses, which are quite far off, but I think that is the only way that I can hopefully get to play a bit more just before I also need to head away for my race. So what my plan will be to pretty much go forward, and the way to do that for me would be to go down the 4 ER route, the boom mine route, and then just carry forward pretty much in the straightest path to 5 ER. Head down, pick up bullet and artillery, pick up the troop damage, and then head down to Seekers, get over to the 6 ER, and then just keep making my way over to heavy choppers. And I think on the way, there's some useful tech for the rocket choppers. Obviously, Bullet as a hero is much better with rocket chopper. Maybe we can see some flying bullet also with its glitch of using shock knuckles. The TD will be super useful. Artillery will be super useful. By that time, maybe even Seekers might have a bit of a play, but only from the side ramp, so do not drop them from the bottom ramp. Critters will be super useful. Barrage will be super useful, especially as it's a no BH season. And the only Sky Shield is over here, which is quite far off. So full BART will be very strong. You will be able to BART out an ER quite easily, especially if you go and pick up the first GB node too. I think we can still be able to do that with just 1 GB node that I would have at this particular stage. And then I'll probably see how the rest of the season really looks like for me. But hopefully with these sort of tech unlocks, I can still keep playing without losing all the troops every single hit. Maybe when it comes to Seeker time, I might be able to switch to Seekers. If the shock launchers are further off and not too many people are using those at that point in time, plus hopefully not a lot of people would have picked up the shock mines either, because that's also quite a bit of a detour. So maybe people who get to the Seekers first will have a strong advantage, because there wouldn't be really many defenses which are capable of stopping Seekers. At this point, we would only have the first DBD. Even picking up the second DBD is quite a way off. So I think Seekers might be quite good overall. Plus, at this stage, if you really wanted to, you could pick up an extra troop hilt as well, which could make things interesting. But for me, I don't think it would really be needed. I think for me, with my non-IT gameplay this season, it's just pretty much head straight on towards the tech tree, head towards the heavy choppers, and then hopefully that allows me to play competitively to some extent and put in more matches. Because one thing is certain, that with the Rocket Chopper season, I think it would be coming down to a few seconds differences, just like we have been seeing in the past few seasons. And pretty much most of the player base will be forced to use Rocket Choppers. I don't think many people will be playing with Zukas, for example, from the beginning towards the end. Bombers may come in at some point in time, but I think Rocket Choppers will do much better job, at least in the beginning. Because there is no BH, and the engine room held 3ER, 4ER, 5ER would be quite easy for the rocket choppers to take down. I think that's what my initial thought is for this particular season, folks. Hope you found this useful. I'll try to create as many videos of my gameplay with non-IT pushes as much as I can during this season. I wish you all the best for the start tomorrow. Over and out.